Hi friends, and welcome to a very special episode of our program. We're headed out west today, all the way out to Saratoga, Wyoming, where we're going to hunt Wycon Safari's Field of Dreams for trophy antelope. Now by we, I mean my lovely bride Miss T and our good friend Dan Fox, and together with myself, we're going to go out there and we're going to try to take antelope with archery gear, and not just any archery gear. T and Dan are going to be using a sideways stick pusher. That's right, they're hunting with crossbows. Now, if you're a frequent flyer, you've probably seen the Field of Dreams, and you know it is a tremendous place full of great big antelope, but it also presents some real challenges to an archer. You see, there aren't any water holes, there's no ponds to set up on, and it doesn't have the kind of topography that lends itself to a stalk, at least not close enough for these sharp-eyed critters, so we had to come up with another plan. Well, I put to use a little something I learned hunting whitetails back here in Michigan, and we're going to set up on some fence crossings. And we're not just waiting and hoping at a particular crossing. We've actually blocked some of the other crossings, enhancing our chances, we hope, that the goats will choose to cross in front of us. At least that's the plan. Hey, I'm your host, Kyle Randall. This is my Wilderness Journal, and we're headed out west in hope of finding goats right now.
Are we ready for our crossbow adventure?
Ready.
You ready?
I'm all set.
All right, we got one more thing to do.
What's that?
We got to decide who goes first. You got a coin?
I'll find one. All right, Tina, you call it, okay?
Tails.
Want to go 2 out of 3?
Sure.
It only took the best 18 out of 35 to decide T would go first. And a little more than an hour after setting up, we could already see antelope starting to work their way back to the fields. Unfortunately, they weren't using the opening we were set up on. These goats had found a couple of spots that I had neglected to block, and they were utilizing those to come back into the alfalfa. Our only hopes of getting a shot at one of these bucks would be if they chose to leave via our opening, something that wasn't real likely to happen, because if you know antelope, you know that they generally come and go from the same point each day. They will move around, use different points, but generally speaking, in any particular day, the access point they use to get into a field or water hole is the exact same one they'll use sooner or later to leave it.
What'd you do?
I didn't do anything.
There's some nice bucks in that group. I see there's another group coming in behind your right shoulder there.
Despite the fact that there were several trophy-quality bucks trying to separate their does out on the field, the fact was, it was going to rain. Like it or not, T was going to have to wait. Unfortunately, the weather pushed us off the field a little early that afternoon, but in a way, it was for the best. The goats had shown me a couple of flaws in my plan, yeah. So we set to work while it was raining, blocking a few more of their choices. We'd be back in the morning, and hopefully this time they'd choose to cross a little closer. Not long after the sun and the wind came up the next morning, we could see goats starting to band together and getting ready to leave the field. They were obviously going to head out, get a drink, daybed, whatever they were going to do. They were fixing to leave. And that meant, hopefully, some of them at least would leave in front of us.
That one that's out there in the field. That's the one we want.
T and I were looking at a nice buck standing out in the field when she motioned, and there was a great buck walking by it not 50 yards right over her shoulder. All we needed for him to do now was turn and come to our fence opening. But he didn't. He just kept walking. His whole group, including this buck with the strange forward-leaning horns, the whole bunch of them just walked on by at about 50 yards. You had to be perfectly still. You couldn't move. You couldn't barely breathe. But you knew if they kept going, there was no way we were going to get a shot. We did notice that in this group was one of the bucks that Tina really had her eye on. He was a beautiful older buck with a really black, distinct face, a true prize in the antelope world. All we could do was just sit there and wait, hoping for whatever reason they'd turn around. And as we sat there, waiting and hoping, another band came walking out from behind Tina's shoulder with another great buck leading it. Here was another obvious shooter. Unfortunately, he was following the same path that the last group took. Usually these bucks try to keep themselves separated, keep their does away from other bucks, but for some reason this morning they were all kind of following single file past us just out of range. Poor T, she sat there shaking. Remember, we're just sitting in front of a brush screen, and we're not 50 yards away from some of the best eyes in the entire animal kingdom. Now, I gotta tell you, I have absolute faith in this kind of hide. I use it for turkey hunting, deer hunting, and antelope hunting. Believe me when I tell you, it's what's behind you that keeps you hidden, not what's in front of you. Obviously, you have to be still, especially with this many great eyes checking you out. And Tina was. She was sitting there like a stone. Not that it made any difference, really.
Too far.
So there T sat, watching the antelope piling up out at about 100 yards. A cakewalk with a rifle, but with archery gear, about 70 yards too far. And to make matters worse, there were at least 3 really nice shooter bucks in this group, and they were actually working their way back out into the alfalfa. What T needed now was a coyote, or something to turn these goats and get them headed back toward our crossing. What she got was more goats coming over her left shoulder, following the same path, working right down the edge of the field, some of them even closer this time. And this group, too, had a couple of dandy bucks in it. Unfortunately, there were several does and kids right up in our face. I mean, right up in our kisser, 10, 15 yards away. They hadn't spotted us, they hadn't spooked, but there was no way to turn or move or even attempt a shot, now with these girls standing right there in Tina's pocket. Now, friends, if you were wondering about the definition of the word intense, I think this would be it. And I think this would be intenser, if that's a word. 2 bucks sparring out in the field had started a mini stampede, and now there were over 50 antelope running up the hill at T. They stopped, started milling. One of the bucks that had started the fight came crashing in, trying to separate his does from the group. There were antelope running this way, antelope running that way, antelope running every way but to us. And even if they did come running in, it was pretty unlikely T'd be able to pick one out and get a chance. You know, it's tough enough to shoot at one antelope with archery gear. It's near impossible in the middle of a goat rodeo. This big group obviously had some real trophies in it, but T still needed for some of them, one of them at least, to come to the fence crossing, stand still, and give her a shot. The antelope were definitely banding up and getting ready to leave the field for the morning, but they hadn't yet decided to try the crossing where T and I were set up. What we needed was a little something, a little bit of help, something to encourage them to change their direction a little. The antelope were slowly working their way from one fence crossing to the next in the wrong direction, and then they turned and started coming back. This was exactly what we'd hoped for, but I gotta tell you, we'd hoped to be doing it with 1 or 2 antelope, not 50 of them. if you're looking for something to clean your pipes out, if you're looking for a stress test, friends, you try this. Sit there in the open in front of a brush screen with this many antelope right in your face, working their way down, nervous, milling. I gotta tell you, this is about as exciting as any kind of hunt gets. The antelope were working their way, bumping from blocked crossing to blocked crossing, and then finally, back.
Right there, back off.
You got him. You hit him. Watch him. Watch him. Good shot, girl. Nice job. Nice, long buck, tall. Boy, was that intense. How many goats were there? There's still a bunch standing there. He's done right there.
My heart is beating so much.
Show him your pretty face.
I've got the shakes.
That's intense right there. And he didn't go 40 yards. He's laid up right there. So what do you think? Hunting antelope in the open, not on a water hole. Hunting them out in the open with a crossbow. Can it be done?
It can be done.
Yeah.
It's intense.
Well, you got to do your homework. You got to scout like deer. You got to start looking for where they cross. What we did was we went for fence crossings. Remember a couple years ago we tried this? We put up a little wire, not a big blind. It seems like if you haven't got time to put a fixed blind out ahead of time, like deer, they tend to shy away from it. But a piece of old wire, some sagebrush in it, and sit real
still.
How do you like being, 15 yards from 40 or 60 of the sets of the best eyes in the animal kingdom?
I was just as confused as they were. I didn't know where to go.
Well, and I didn't know if they'd pick our fence crossing. Some of them crossed farther up on the hill. We could see them. Some went back out through the field. They were leaving for the morning. It's getting hot. They come in here, they feed, and then they move out, and we were hoping for that. And this time, it worked. Boy, and they're a beautiful, beautiful antelope bucks. Huge bucks. You shot a really nice, long, tall buck, I think. I wasn't real sure which one you was after there until after the bow went off.
Well, there was two of them I liked. I liked the long one.
Right.
And then there was one just slightly behind him, and he had the darker face.
Really dark mask, yeah.
And I it was a toss-up. It was like, okay, which one are you going to step out in front of me now?
And you picked the winner.
And I picked the winner.
All right. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
I don't often do this, but I'm going to give a kiss to an antelope hunter. Now, let's go pick up your bolt. There's no blood trail to follow. He's laying right over there. He can go 40 yards. Come on. Friends, that is definitely a ride on the wild side. What a great shot. That worked.
It worked.
Dan's coming with the truck. He's going to get to your antelope before you do. Way to go. You ain't just taking a nap, girl. Walk right up there. You can poke it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that one's all done. Get around there behind that. Get a hold of that. Well, there. Put your bow down in.
I'm down here.
Yeah. What do you think?
Oh, he's nice.
You think?
Isn't he beautiful?
Hold that bad boy up. Look at that.
Oh, he's kind of thick there.
Yeah, he's got a bumper too. Real nice and long too. That's the thing. That'll measure real good. That's probably a 14-inch goat all day long, you think?
Oh, he's beautiful.
A little better than your last one even, I think.
He is. He is. Dan, come here.
Oh, wow, Tina.
Isn't he beautiful?
Way to go, gal. Way to go. Beautiful.
Look at that.
Good, heavy antelope. You put the pressure on me. I got the work cut out for me.
Oh, yeah, you do.
Way to go, girl.
Are you happy?
I'm very happy.
Well, on behalf of your guide, I'm happy. Thank you.
You're
You
welcome.
made a great shot. I'm here to tell you, it doesn't get any tougher than that. Everybody thinks, boy, they're right there. You try to move. We're out in the open. All we got is a little sagebrush screen behind us in front of, I don't know how many, 50, 60 antelope, some of them at 10 feet. You did a tremendous job. Thank you, girl.
Thank you.
And
And Dan.
Mr. Dan, Captain Dan, I want you to understand one thing. When it's your turn, your finger on the trigger, your butt in the seat, now all you have to do is get a little better antelope and take at least as good an instruction.
Tina, you can be very proud of that. It's a beautiful animal. Congratulations.
All right, let's get that one cleaned up before it gets hot.
Oh.
Congratulations, Tina. What a tremendous shot and a truly great buck. You are indeed the girl. And with one down, that means there's just one to go. Now it's Dan Fox's turn. Dan's got to step up, get it done, and he's out there looking for one that's just a little bit bigger than Tina's because, who wants to ride all the way home listening to Tina brag? And it's only 2,143 miles, yeah. By the time we got back from running Tina's antelope into the processing plant, there were already critters working their way back out into the field of dreams. We snuck down the low side of the field along the fence and crawled into the second hide we'd set up. From there we could see a number of antelope working their way out into the alfalfa. And just as they passed out of view, Dan pointed over to the left. Here was a dandy buck leading a small band of goats into the field. We watched as they worked their way along from crossing to crossing that we had blocked. There were obviously at least a couple of shooters in this group, and they were definitely working their way up to Dan. And if they kept coming, well, let's just say I was real sure at least one of them bucks was going to be in real peril. The antelope were working closer and closer, and then the lead buck made the left turn and started for the crossing. Now it was Dan's butt in the seat, his finger on the trigger. If this buck crossed the fence, well, then it'd be on Dan. He'd have to close the deal.
I hit him high, Tina.
I'm watching.
I hit him back. He's moving on me. But he's hit pretty hard, I think. I think I might have hit him back just a hair. But he's hit hard. I think we'll go out and find out here real quick.
Oh, he's done.
Celebration time. All right. Thank you, girl.
No problem.
Yeah,
Look
buddy.
Look at that.
That's a gorgeous one.
Look at the silver tips on him.
Wow.
Look at this one.
You guys are all right.
Nice
two
heart shape.
antelope in one day? Is that one bigger than Tina's?
Ooh, it's going to be tough.
Obviously, mine is bigger.
I'll give that to you.
Well, what do you think?
I think we had an excellent day. 2 in one day, and it's not even 6 o'clock.
I don't think it could get much better. Two obviously mature, really nice antelope. Certainly want to thank Win, everybody at Wycon Safaris, especially Dan Fox. I mean, he usually is a guide. Today he's a hunter. And from the looks of it, a pretty good one.
Happy days.
I think so. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Hey, this was a blast. Well, congratulations, Dan. Another tremendous antelope. Folks, that's 2 great goats in one short day with archery gear, no less. I don't care where you go on this planet. You're not going to find antelope hunting any better than that. Congratulations again, Tina, and certainly Dan. You two did such a great job under tough conditions. You harvested 2 great bucks all in one day with archery gear, and you helped me prove that you can, in fact, hunt antelope just like white-tailed deer. All it takes is a little bit of planning and some accurate scouting, and you can set up and harvest an antelope. Folks, this is what I'm talking about. It's why they call this place the Field of Dreams. And I should say, if this is something that interests you, if you'd like to try some antelope hunting in one of the best places on the planet, you get a hold of Wycon Safaris, and they're going to take you out there. And whether it's with archery gear, you know, conventional bow or crossbow, or with a rifle, they're going to show you the same great place, the same great goats. And I hope you try a few of those tricks. I hope it works out for you, and I hope you call and tell me about it. And who knows, you might just run into me there next year, setting up in a brush blind, waiting on a big old good one. And if you do, I tell you what, we're going to stop and share a cup of goat story or two on a fire. And if I don't see you out there, friends, well, I truly hope to see each and every one of you right back here for another adventure from my Wilderness Journal. Thanks again, Win and Dan, everybody out at Wycon Safari.